Jamaican politicians are backward in their societal sense. This is my third video in a row talking about social issues and politics. Don't blame me, friends. I speak about what feels like inspiration. My people, Skywalker speaks again. Here is the light of focus today. Black nations are dumber at the top and smarter at the bottom. It doesn't matter if the person did not go to school, they are smarter than their leaders. And the problem is that the leader gets to pass them around. The thing is, the one at the top is given the rule of authority. No other people on earth have to face this destructive reality of backwardness that is even so obvious. The leader of any nation must manage the available resources, including labor. All of these are on the ground in Jamaica. For example, one man at the bottom might demonstrate the fact that we, in him, have the power to make our vehicles run on water, which is a divine gift that the government must strategize and manage to add to the wealth of the nation. That's where the chain will ever be broken. Once it gets to the leader, when it gets to the weak link, it breaks. And the leader is always the weak link. The human resources are there. Check. The brains are there. Check. The manpower is there. Check. Now, where is the man who should govern or manage all the moving parts to make one well oiled working machine? Where? He's not available. He's there, but he is not there. Unchecked. And there you have it. So, the guy who makes the car that runs on water or who makes the system that makes the car run on water is sent to Japan, and we go and buy fossil fuel for gas guzzlers. Why do we do it? Because for some reason, for some strange reason, it is the educated people in Jamaica who are dependent for definitions. Oh, we have so much to break down and expose on this channel. To understand this at a faster rate, let me show you from a different angle. I remember this little Jamaican girl who went and won the spelling bee in America, which naturally proved that our system is at least on par and our children are learning at the same level. But it goes beyond that. Most Jamaicans who migrate to the US who were not top students in high school will tell you that they became top students when they arrived in the US. That tells you that our system is at least on par. Break down the achievement of any black group of people in the world by any firm in a country like the USA, as for example, achievement in politics, in the White House, in medicine, in the black freedom struggles as influencers, in music, medicine, or in sports. If you break it down to a percentage rate, or as per 100,000 of the population, for example, no other black group or community in the world would have achieved 20% of the Jamaican achievements. In fact, it would probably be similar across the board for any group of people, no matter the race. However, not a single one of these achievements would have a thing to do with government input. In other words, The brilliance is never coming from the top. If the comparison were ever to be made by the success or genius of any Jamaican politician, it would be embarrassing for the country and humorous to foreign leaders looking on. They would laugh and then cry for how the laughter ache their bellies. Is this because our leaders are traitors, or is it because they are educated? So, how could you be a leader over this high quality resource and instead of you doing something, you are doing a cocky skinning? There is no possible excuse whatsoever. You know what always makes me shake my head? Jamaicans love sports. I mean, all Jamaicans love sports. Maybe because it takes some of the government crap off their minds. Yet still, the facilities and the government never allows for the poor sports bodies to find useful pools to pick from. They don't assist them, so they can go around and pick. So, in a country of less than 3 million, they have to pick from a pool that does not even cover any reasonable portion of that pool. And then they are expected to use those that they have to grab from one or two places out of 100 to go and compete against the giants in the world, and they are expected to win. But even when they defy the odds and win, these leaders will jump on their bandwagons and play as if these children do not show them up badly, as if they should be ashamed of themselves. When PJ Patterson outsourced the lottery, was it because he was educated, or was it because he was a traitor? When he failed to listen to the words of a white man named Edward Siaga and threw Jamaica into the Caribbean market without a chip, which could have been easily done if he decided to use his brain, was it because he was educated, or was it because he was a traitor? When Mark Golding endorsed someone becoming prime minister, or when Mark Golding banded the idea that someone could become prime minister with a British passport by any way it was attained, was it because Mark Golding was educated, or was it because he was being a traitor? Was it because being a traitor had become the norm for Jamaican politicians? Was it, or maybe Mark Golding isn't even the right one to include because we see why he has a legacy that should make him a traitor anyway. Everyone alone wanting to build big houses and wear clocks. That's what they want. Everyone only want to build big houses and wear clocks, which it would be better if some would go and buy kuya. Yeah. Now, I zero in on Jamaican politicians as a whole, but at the same time, it does seem to go for almost every single black leader I know. If Bro God and Mia Motley go into a meeting to discuss a solution for Haiti at the point of any chaos in the country, geared at resisting US, Canada, Europe, and UK tyranny, they go into a meeting at that point where the Haitians are trying to resist outside interference from US, Canada, Europe, and UK tyranny upon them, and they are resisting it. Why would it come down to these black leaders deciding that they can speak for Haiti and they will speak behind the backs of the Haitians and only to the same people that Haiti was running from? Huh? It is similar to Mark Golding with a British passport saying, come out of Britain, my people, who are not really his people anyway. Honestly, you know that's a bag of bumbleclad, right? To be honest. I would love to ask Mia Motley and Brogard if they realize that it is obvious that they sold the entire black population of Haiti to colonizers and tyranny by black. Hmm, hmm. Let me come this way. They sold the entire black population of Haiti to colonization and tyranny by white supremacists who will ravage them. They will ravage Haiti for cobalt, iridium, oil, gas, gold, and other resources. Haiti was always setting good examples, having no support but still fighting alone. When America wanted a black face to destroy Gaddafi so that the black race would not rise, they easily found more than one, including Black Obama. Why do we always have a traitor hanging around to be picked up by white supremacists? And after this latest act with black faces from Africa and the Caribbean, led by Mia Motley, we must ask questions. How will it ultimately benefit the great grandchildren of Andrew Holness or Mia Motley? Let me explain something to you. The black pants that possess handlers are more despised by their handlers than those who defy the handlers. Today, for the people you betray, and tomorrow for you. The man who sells out his friend has no honor to the ones who buys the information or assistance. For he sees what a traitor you are. So even though what you give him benefits him, he dislikes you more. Everyone, even the evil man, hates a back and belly rat. If you sold out Haiti, you sold out Jamaica, you sold out Africa, you sold out Black America, Black Australians, Brazilians, and Barbadians. You sell out all of us and you sell your children too. What kind of heart is that? Is it because you are ignorant? Is it because you are dependent for definitions and cannot reason outside of what a white man says? Or is it because you are educated? For generally, you are more educated than the masses. Consider that very well. Do you do what you do because you are objective, or do you do it because you do what you learn when you get education? Education can do many things. There is one that is a blessing and one that is a curse. One is positive and empowering information, and the other is a zit for sugar, mind manipulating philosophy that influences your actions and compel your outcomes. It means that when you think you are getting sugar, you are getting it instead. Only educated business people and politicians can be as evil minded to their own people as the worst we have seen. There is a thin line between these communication approaches, meaning it might seem that you learn the same thing like your handler's children learned, but there are intrusive subliminal or demon spells that you should have avoided. Now, instead of getting into a lot of complex issues, look at this. You interpret and relate to information according to what circumstances you are put under. That is the same way too you must know that you have to create the circumstances for the interpretation of the people to be what is required. It is like alpha. You have to understand how the alphabet works. So all things and all three realms must always be synchronized, and work together. The exact same way our the alphabet works is the same way a society works in government. And the realms are, you have the physical, spiritual, and the mental plane, and the mental plane is the divine plane, and you have to synchronize all three. This is no, I am talking about practically. I'm not talking about anything about esoteric things or anything. I'm talking about natural life. Because remember, I'm speaking words, and these words are in this are of the spiritual realm. You can hear them, right? They are coming. They are words just coming from somewhere, just like an energy that's blowing in the wind, right? It's basically from a spiritual perspective. And then there's a physical you. I have to eat food, right? It's natural. And then there is a divine you. So you can listen to this word that I'm saying and put it to practically use. So I just gave you a glimpse of all three realms: physical, mental, and spiritual, and you have to work with all three. Because if all three are not synchronized, are well synchronized, then a person can get an idea in conscious mind and the opposite of that same idea in unconscious mind. So this kind of wisdom is at the forefront of anything that has to do with governmental leadership. It is just not taught to you in school. Everything you learn is something that seems practical. The same words do not say the same thing to everyone at all times. Truth depends on dimensions, dynamics, and circumstances. It can't just be truth. That just depends on truth. No, it cannot. For if I am in the center and you are coming toward me, you you might go east, you might go west, you might go north, or you might go south, depending on where I am. It depends on where I am in regards to where you are at. But at the same time, the other person does not necessarily have to go in the direction that you go. You might have to go east, the other person might have to go west. That is what truth is like. And we must always remember that we accept information in two or three realms simultaneously. One port is conscious and the other subconscious. For example, the word aboriginal means the original when we view it consciously. However, it means to abhor the original when it goes through the subconscious port. If one child is told that he should abhor the originals and the other told that he is the abhorred original, their reactions to the word won't be the same. So, is what you do because you are traitors, or is it because you are educated? Because there is education and miseducation, and both of them are education. The question that comes to mind is, what does it benefit our leaders to deliberately and conspicuously act against us, always, always acting against us? Jamaican leaders are so backward in their societal sense that it seems like they beg God Almighty to curse the people all day, every day. They do the very thing that escalates the problem. Is it because they are educated, or is it because they are traitors? Let us look at how Jamaican leaders disarm citizens, arms criminals, and then spread the gangs around. Let us look at how Jamaican leaders compel the people to bleach their skins. Let us look at how the Jamaican leaders teach the people that crime is better. Let us look at how the Jamaican leaders deliberately prevent the progress of individuals and create troubled youth and troubled communities. And when they escalate, their government begins a new cycle. Why do they do this? Is it because they do what they are told, being dependent for definitions from their white masters? Or is it because they are educated and they do what they learned to do in their degree courses? No man who cannot read and write and who lives by chopping with a machete would make some of the retarded decisions that our leaders make. That it seems deliberate. If it is deliberate, it would be sabotage. Is it ever deliberate? It would mean they are selling out. Like at the moment, it will only be a matter of time before China becomes the majority and ruling population in Jamaica. Was it not obvious to our leaders that they had no contingencies in place to create millionaires among their own population to handle a deal as this one? Did it ever occur to them that it is not hard, nor is it very costly to do so? Because the markets and resources are mostly naturally available. So if it were, or if it ever occurred, why was it never done? Do our leaders have shit for sugar mindsets developed by years in Bucky Massa schools? Let's imagine that a white man who was involved in the atrocities of slavery and even received reparations when the people were freed from the chains has any concern for Jamaicans. Let us imagine that this white man has concern for Jamaicans. Nah, I would not. Mm. He does not have any concern for Jamaicans, so you can't even imagine it. But say a man with such a background or a legacy would come to Jamaica to test polio on the population. In other words, he would bring the disease to test on the Jamaican black population and even ended up killing thousands. Let's say his son was to come and live in Jamaica to be groomed like a Jamaican. Do you believe that Jamaican politicians that know the history would groom this white man to become an MP or Prime Minister of Jamaica? Could that even be considerable? So, if Jamaican politicians would consider this, would it be because they are traitors against their own, or would it be because they are more educated than the majority of the population? If it is the latter, what would education be good for then? See, you can give a man a bunch of information, even the most accurate ones, but that doesn't mean that he will know how to apply it. The things these educated people learn by way of religion only confuses them when they have to reckon in the natural world reality. Like because of religion, they believe that divine intervention means magic from God in heaven. Yes, we have politicians in Jamaica, men who went even to universities who believe this shit. We have politicians in Jamaica who believe that divine intervention means magic from God in heaven, and heaven, in this case, to them, means the sky overhead. They have no idea about the spiritual cosmic of mind space, and that mind is the divine plane, and science or art, etc., is divine intervention, and they are making no science at all, and they are boycotting good art and bringing in cartel, even though they claim to be at loggerhead with him at the moment. They think it's something you go to church and pray for divine intervention. So when a Jamaican youth creates a system that can make any car run on water, they send him to Japan and then pray to God in the sky to intervene about the energy problems. Jamaican leaders are dependent for definitions. Just because a white man needs a certain amount of vitamins daily, it does not mean that the dose is the same for a black person. because it is not either. Black people are different in that way. Just because a white girl child does well to learn that beauty is in the white doll does not mean that it is the best way to grow a black girl child. But you give them a culture of white dolls. The messages are different because of their circumstances. The leaders know all the necessary apparatus, but the problem is to fit them together, or what is to go before, or with what. Just like they call in the Chinese and sell them all this land without doing the necessary things to facilitate the empowering of their own people in this deal. You have to have the people being empowered to back you up in this deal. It's that kind of deal. They have these hotels that belong to outsiders, but they do not make sure the people retain anything out of their labor in them. The money is supposed to go to the people. That is what's going to strengthen the island, not you get it. And then you do a port barrel politics with all the money and buy clerks. That's not where the money should go to the people. Over time, the people always have to pay you tax. So they need to be empowered. They do not know that the mindset of the leaders reflect as the reality or condition of the people. If the leader is positive and have good intentions, it will become the reality of the people. Whilst he is, as long as he is an intelligent leader, and as long as he is positive and have good intentions, it will become the reality of the people. Will not maybe. That's why India grew, China grew, Japan and Singapore grew, but not Jamaica. As long as you know what your priorities are, you will never make a mistake. Because Jamaican leaders learn that SHIT spells sugar, they always order what the people do not like. They are educated. Is it because they are traitors, or is it because they do what they learn to do when they are educated? See, they mix the little truths with lies, or they will tell the lies in a subliminal form to these leaders. They learn that black is not beautiful, but they claim that it is not what they believe because their minds are compartmentalized. Then they ban a child that has a lack from school, but they don't say it is because the child shows black features or the child looks too much like a black person. They say it's because it's unkept here. Everything that looks black is unkept to them. Black hair grows in dreadlocks, so they won't say no black hair. They will say no unkept hair, but they mean anything that looks like a kinky nigger. Then they say that they are there to teach you about confidence. Meanwhile, Cartel is dishing out the cake soap, for that's what they taught him. And it is the fastest way to make money in Jamaica. And he wants to make some money too, like everyone else. So if you say a word in English like your ass, it is all fine. But if you say it in Patois like your ass, some nigga in power will threaten you about jail. They steal, they lie, they scam, they commit fraud, but they only bring the poor black man to justice for the same things. The worst thing about it is that we Jamaicans see them do what they do all day, every day. Sometimes they become extortion strongman for big companies. Then they tell the poor people to go and work for bus fare and lunch money. When these youths are reluctant, they say they can't see why these youths do not want to work. It is the same youths that are in foreign countries busting their butts and receiving Employee of the Year awards. Why do they believe that they are not obvious? They compel the outcomes and then they blame the victim. I see conditions where there is nowhere to put garbage and no one coming to remove them anyway. And the same government that creates these conditions is blaming the people. And then they believe that they're lying and scamming, their lack of integrity is not a big deal. My people, I am not even finished with this topic yet, but I don't even want to make it too long. Like, share, and subscribe to keep all these debates going, for we will be back. Peace out.